Hi everybody, it's Eileen from There's a Crafty Idea, and I am back with a little tutorial, a little craft along with me. I've been making these lovely envelopes, little ones, larger ones, different size ones, and I was very lucky that I got given a quantity of package paper. It's just your standard brown package paper, parcel paper I should say. It's matte on one side and shiny on the other, and I've cut it into a normal page size. That's A4 in England. I think it's 8 by 11 in America. I'm not 100% sure. Drop me a comment and let me know. But yeah, so I've just cut them into a stand. I had like really big sheets of it, so I sat and cut, and it took me a good 2 hours to cut it all up. But I got it there anyway, and I've been playing with it and trying different things with it. And what I've come up with for one of the ideas was this. Now these are just little envelopes. They're made a standard way an envelope is made, but what I've done, I was very lucky that I managed to get Vectorial Designs had a big package deal on, and they had, I think it's over 300 pages, and lots of ephemera and other things. Anyway, it was a big, huge, massive package, and I've been printing out some of the pages, which are absolutely gorgeous. So thank you, Vectorial Designs, because they are absolutely gorgeous. I'll drop a link down below to the shop, because they do some absolutely stunning kits and lovely papers and that. But anyway, these were the portrait size papers, and I wanted to use them in a way that would display them beautifully. And I also had some smaller papers, again Vectorial Designs, and then I had some pages. I think this one was one that it was a free printout from Pinterest. Now I've had it for ages, so I'm sorry I couldn't tell you where I got it from, but if you just type into Pinterest, type in free vintage ephemera or free vintage printouts, then you get lots of these lovely little ones, and they're all very vintage and they're all royalty free, so you can use them. So that's that one. And then this one is out of a Flora and Fauna book. Now all of the colour pages I've already taken out and used, and this was one of the other images, and I think it's beautiful in black and white, and I wanted to showcase it, so I used that. And then this is from, let me think now, it was it Brer Rabbit or something like that? Oh, anyway, it was a children's book. The only problem I've found with these is because these papers from the books are so delicate, because I've used this as well from a Nancy Drew book, because the papers are so delicate, you know, they do tend to crack a little bit, but the packaging paper keeps them together. You just get a tiny bit of cracking on the folds. So let's get on with it, and I'll show you what I've been doing. Okay, so I'll pop these out the way, and I have a few different ones. Now this again is the paper from the Nancy Drew book, and this is from, it was Brer Rabbit, look, Brer Rabbit. So I think I'll use one of these. And then I got this is from an old it's a book on Virgil, and I think it's been somebody's study book. It's very old. It's even still got the notations in there on, so I want to use that. And then this is the map from, I can't even remember what book that comes from. And then I've got these, again, these are free printouts. I think these are from the internet, I'm not 100% sure, but these are from Vectorial Designs, and these again are from Vectorial Designs. So I've got a few different ones, so let's pick a couple and we'll get started. So I think I'll do these. Right, okay, we'll get our paper. Now I'm gluing to the shiny side because I want the matte side to be the inside of the actual envelope, so you can see it's matte inside. So that's, you know, you can write on it, is what I'm trying to say. So it's a little bit more difficult to write on the shiny side. So anyway, so we've got our paper, we want the shiny side up. Now I'm just using a standard glue stick You can use whatever glue you want really, I suppose, whichever one you think is going to work well, but I think paper to paper, the glue stick is pretty good, and you know, as long as you're using a decent one, it probably won't delaminate. You'll probably get a good stick with it. I did try to use the Pritt Stick ones, which is a well-known brand, but to me they're just too soft and you can't, you know, you just end up with clumps. But that's just my experience. I mean, a lot of other people like them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a border and I'm going to try and get it equal around the whole thing. Now luckily this paper actually has lines in it. I think you can see that on the camera. So it helps to keep things straight. And just leave a little border, and I think we'll get another one on there. We'll get the Brer Rabbit on. Okay. And again, this is a nice way to display the book pages from books that you want to use, and there's images in them that, you know, maybe they're not like the perfect images to use as focal points, but you don't want to not use them because they're such beautiful images, and this is a nice way of using them and displaying them, and then becoming the focal point of what you're making. So again, I'm going to try and keep it to the edge. It just means less trimming down, and it's easier to get it straight. And as I've learned from experience, you need to be a little bit more gentle with these book pages because you don't want to absolutely destroy them. There we go. Now we'll let that one sit for a minute and I'll do another one. So let's go another piece of the paper. And I think what I'll do is I'll do one of the larger ones just to show you that it's the same process. Now because when you print these out, I think I'll do this one because I like this lady. When you print these out, you print them on A4 paper, but you've generally got a border around them. So once you've cut that off, it means that they're almost the perfect size. So, sorry, I'm a little bit off camera. So they're almost the perfect size, so that's good. So let's get this glued on. Oh, I've got a little bit of paper. And then it's exactly the same process as the smaller ones. I hope everybody's well. I hope that you're all enjoying the new year. Although it seems a long time ago since we celebrated that, or didn't celebrate it, as the case may be. Bit of a sore point with some. Oh my dear. Yeah, me daughters were lamenting the fact that they haven't been out with the friends for a very long time now. It's been nearly a year, hasn't it? Oh. But it's all for the better good. Oh, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick. Should have used a fresh page. Okay, right. Now again, I'm just going to try and position this so it's got an equal border all the way around. That's not always easy to do. I think the larger the paper, the more difficult it is to get it equal. But we've managed, we've got there. And we can always trim it. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect when you're putting it on. Let's just get that big goober off there. Right. So that's the basic principle of what we're doing. We're just sticking them onto the brown paper. So you've got the mat on the back and then you've got the image on the front. Now, I'm going to get Henry out. Come on, Henry. Let's put the lid on the glue. And then, there we go. It's been a bit of a funny start to the year, actually. I know, it wasn't going to be anything different after the last year. Because, yeah, we couldn't just have a normal year, could we? No, that's not going to happen. So I've just trimmed it. I'm trying to go it equal around. It might not be perfect, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I've got a trick with the curling, so don't worry about that. There we go. Hopefully your cutter's got guides that'll give you just a little bit of a lip so that you can line everything up and have it all equal. Oh, that didn't work very well, did it? Come on, Henry, what's wrong with you? You're not cutting. I'll do that with the scissors. There we go, that's better. That size is just a little bit too big, so I'm going to trim that again. That's better. There we go. Yeah, because these will want to curl. Whenever you laminate two pieces of paper together with glue, whenever you stick two pieces together, they do want to curl on you, and that's fine because we can deal with that. I've got a little special trick, other than having to put them underneath a book and leave them for hours or overnight. Now I'm not going to throw these little bits away, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's get these sleeves up. Okay, now you can do all of your inking now. You don't have to ink because obviously this gives it a border anyway. I'm going to ink when I've got it all folded. So basically what you want to do is you want the image facing you so it's the right way up, and then you're just gonna, this is so easy, you'll have seen me make these envelopes before. And then you're just going to fold, try and get everything equal and like straight. I mean, you can use your scoreboard if you want to straighten everything up. Just pop it on, and then you know you're going to get it all straight. And then I'm going to just do the same with the top flap. I'm just going to fold it down a little. Now this is the one that shows the most, so if you don't get this straight, it is very visible. So try your best to get that one straight. I don't always manage that. I very often have it skew-if, but I don't mind skew-if. The only thing I'll say about the flap, you want it big enough, because what we're going to do is we're going to use these little 1-inch circles. I've punched them out. I've punched out about 3 or 4 and I've glued them together. Now I've punched them out of a piece of cardstock and some of the packing paper. That's another reason why not to get rid of these, because you can use those, you can punch out of them. So you want it to be wide enough to have one of them. This one's just wide enough, so that's fine. Now we're going to do the same with this. The image is going to be on the back with this one, but that's fine. So let's just line everything up. Again, like I said, you can use your cutting board or you could use a rule. And straight away you can see this has started to crack a little bit. I'm not so bothered about it because one, we can cover it up with the distress ink, and two, it kind of adds a little bit of the more distressed look to it, so that's fine. Now again, we'll fold this over, and again I'm going to try and line everything up. So I'm lining the bottom of the page with the side of the page, if you kind of see what I mean. And we've got a little bit of that image on the front, that's good, that's fun. And then you can see the image is going to be on the back, that's good. And again, that's wide enough that that's going to fit. Now the bigger ones is exactly the same process. I know you're going to be thinking they're going to be quite big. They are, but they do still fit on a page. And that's good because sometimes you need a bigger envelope, and they make a beautiful page edge trim as well, so you can kind of use them to decorate the edge of a plain page, and then you know it looks like the page is decorated, but it's actually an envelope. And I'll show you what I mean with that. I mean, I very often put them in my books, but let's say we'll grab this. Say this was a plain page, then you can pop this on. Hold on a minute. Actually, on the inside it's a plain page. You could pop that on like that, and that's going to give it like a nice trim to the page, or you could cover that page up completely with the envelope itself, and it's still going to sit nicely, and then you've got a nice little tuck spot on the other side. So that works out well. I'll just pop that away. And again, like I said, it's going to be wide enough for our little thing. Now you can, if you wanted, I suppose you could put two on, but like I said, I've got something for that. Don't worry about it. Now the next step, okay, is the sewing machine, and you will be pleased to know that I've finally got a new sewing machine. Yay! Right, let's just get this one turned on, and it's all digital. It's got all these little tricks. I'm sorry I can't show you the actual sewing process. It's the angle my camera's at, but yeah, it's great, and I'm really enjoying playing with it. Now the first bit I'm going to sew is along this edge, so you can see you can see where this envelope's going to close. I want that edge to be sewn as well, so I'm going to sew across there first. And I'm loving, oh, I've just done something to it. Okay. We're still getting to know each other. Okay, right. How quiet is that? Isn't that lovely? I do love Betty, I really do. She was a lovely old girl, but yeah, she was too noisy. And this one even has embroidered stitches on it, so I can embroider stitch. I haven't quite worked out how to do all that yet. I'm still playing with it. But yeah, my wonderful husband got us it for Christmas. Isn't that wonderful? He's such a gent. Okay. And then I'm just going to stitch around the outside, and all I'm going to do is stitch all the way around the flap as well, so that'll close up the envelope. And we're not using any glue. You can, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can easily glue these closed. You know, it's just as simple, and they work just as well. I just like the idea of having them sewn round. I kind of like the added extra decoration that you get. We're still figuring out our corners, aren't we? I haven't decided what to call her yet. Put a comment down below and tell me if you've got any suggestions on the name of this one. Because as you know, I like to name all my equipment. Drop me a comment and tell me what you think I should call her. Because we've got old Henry, which is my big cutting board, but it was the old sewing machine. Give me a comment and tell me what you think I should call her. Oh, it's just so easy, and there's no foot. I mean, I can put the foot on it, but I'm enjoying not to have to figure out the foot as well. When I first started using it, I was like, what do I do with my foot? I think it's the same when you go from driving a clutch to driving an automatic. You kind of, what do I do with my foot now? It's difficult. There we go. Just take off these threads. And there we are, the basic envelope is done, and it closes nicely. And there we go. Right, now let's just get these ones zipped through. Ooh. Sticking to the thread. I have a feeling I'm going to run out of thread, but that's okay. I should have checked the bobbin before we started. I'm terrible at forgetting to do that. There we go. There we are. So the Arctic storms definitely hit England. We have the beast from the east back. The temperature is freezing, and poor Wales. Wales has been flooded. If you're in Wales, oh, I hope you're safe, because some of the images we've been seeing on the news, absolutely terrible. And the Highlands have just been absolutely completely inundated with snow. So if you're up there, keep the fire on and stay safe. Yeah, we've been having some strange weather with this Arctic storm, and the wind is just. We went for a walk last night along the coast, and oh wow, walking up the coast wasn't so bad, but coming down the coast, oh, my face was bitter, absolutely bitter. So there's another one done. There we go. And then we might just have enough thread to get through this. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that we do. It's got different speeds, and I can probably go faster than this, but while I'm on camera I prefer to go a little bit slower than I would normally go, just because knowing me, I'll just get straight into it and sew off the edge. I'm still getting used to it, so and it doesn't seem to mind the paper. That's good. There we are. Right, now I've got loads more ready to make, but I'm not going to sew them on camera because it's just, you know, you don't need to sit here and watch me sew. Okay, let's move the sewing machine. Now we've got it all nicely sewn up and ready. Now I'm just going to get the ink out, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a distress. This is, you know, it's all down to taste. You don't have to distress, you know, it's just whether you like it or not. I kind of like it. I think it goes with the colour scheme on these. The packaging paper doesn't pick up the distress hugely. It does pick it up a little bit, but it's not a huge amount. So it's like you can just see slightly, but the paper itself does, so that's good. And it just gives it, I think, a finished look for me. Like I say, I do like to distress things. Oh, I've got to tell you a ghost story. Where I work, we've just moved buildings, and the building's quite old and has a lot of stories. And one of the stories is that it's haunted by, there's two ghosts. You can see where this is split, but just by putting a little bit of ink on, it kind of makes it into part of the embellishment of the envelope, which is good. And because it's glued to the packaging paper, it's going to be pretty stable, so it's, you know, it won't deteriorate. Hopefully it won't deteriorate. It shouldn't, because this packaging paper is tough stuff. It's meant to hold packages, so, you know, it's gonna supply the strength it needs. Anyway, back to the ghost story. So at the minute, because of everything that's going, I mean, I'm not going to give out details of my work, but there's only a few of us in the building, okay? So on a night, we're down to about four people, something like that anyway. And so I'd been to the toilet, and I came out of the toilets to walk back to the room where I work. And I kind of looked down the corridor, and I saw a figure walk across the corridor. Now, where they walked from, there was no door, and where they walked to, there was a locked door, which we keep as a storeroom. and it's always locked. So I kind of did a double take, and when I looked back again, there was nobody there. And it was kind of like one of those peripheral sightings. And I thought, oh wow, what was that? So I went and checked to see if anybody had gone into the storeroom. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a few of these, so I'm just going to distress these as well, and then they'll all match in. So I went to check, and the storeroom was locked as usual. There was, you know, nobody had been in there for days, probably longer, I would have thought, probably not since last year. And there was, you know, I checked and I looked all around, and I thought, I must be seeing things, you know, just, it's silliness. So anyway, we were waiting to leave at the end of the day, and I was sitting talking to one of my colleagues, and he has an office at the end of that corridor, and he's got a window out of the office onto the corridor. And he says, really, I was telling him what I'd seen. He went, really? He says, I thought I was the only one. I says, have you seen something? And he went, huh? He says, I was sitting at my desk, and out of my peripheral vision I could see someone standing outside the window looking in. He says, and when I looked up to see who it was and what they wanted, there was no one there. He says, I went out into the corridor and there was no one there. I was like, oh, ghost stories. Oh, so funny. I mean, it doesn't bother me, things like that, you know. It's the living you've got to worry about, not the dead. You're more likely to be hurt by the living. But yeah, it was a funny coincidence. But apparently this person has been, this ghost, if that's what it is, hangs about round there all the time, and lots of people have seen him, her, whatever. So that was my little ghost story. I mean, everybody was like, oh my god, does it bother you being there by yourself? And I'm like, no, not at all, not at all. It doesn't bother me at all. I've got other things to worry about. Right, I forgot to put the holes in the envelopes. Now, this one, you can eyeball it if you want. It's just as simple to get a rule and just measure. You want it about the middle. So it's 21, so if I go to 10.5, it's about there. And I'll eyeball the middle about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And these ones I think I'll just eyeball. It's about there. That's fine. And then this one I'm going to measure because it is quite thin. So it's 13.5, so I want to do 6, just under 7. I'm just going to check that. And then this way, because it is quite, let's just see, let's say it's an inch. Yeah, so it's about, I'm going to go about there. Maybe it's just slightly up. I don't want it poking out over the top of the envelope. That's the only reason I'm being funny about that one. So there we go. Right. Now, a little trick when you're putting these on and you want to have it, a ribbon underneath it, and you don't want it to be pulled up. Take a double thickness of whatever it is that you're popping on. So if you're using these, put 2. And then thread that through, and then before you squash the little arms down, pop them underneath and hold it by that, and that's just going to raise it enough for you to put the ribbon under. And then you can just pop the little arms down, and it's not going to take it completely flat. So then you've got a little bit of leeway, a little bit of give. There's just a little tip for you. I mean, you probably already know these things, but hey ho. I'm loving these Brer Rabbit illustrations. They're great, aren't they? I was really lucky to find a very old Brer Rabbit book. I think I'll make an actual journal. Right, now, you see, that's just left it a little bit of give. And I'm just using these little ones. I got them with some little letters that I bought. I think I got them from The Works, which is like a bit of a stationery craft shop, and they actually came with the letters, but I didn't use them with the letters, so I've still got a few left over. So again, I've put the double thickness underneath, and I'm just going to fold it just there. Okay, there we are. And then we've got the give. Now I did have, I'm saying I did have, I know I have, oh there, it's there. I've got this ribbon, and it's a very thin brown, and I think it goes with the colour scheme that I'm using here. These would be good using any colour scheme, because the packaging paper, I think, is that kind of base that it'll work with just about anything. But I'm really enjoying the browns and sepias and the creams, and I think that it's gonna they're gonna match the journals that I've got on the go at the minute. Let's just get this off. The problem is, because it's so thin, trying to keep it on the spool is impossible, and it just comes off. Right, now the last thing is we're going to pop this on, and then tie this in a knot. You see how we've got a little bit more room to play with? And then another knot. And then I'm just going to snip that off underneath the lip so I don't have to see it. And then all we're going to do is, before we cut the ribbon, we're going to measure it out so that it goes twice around, and then we've got as much of a tail as we want. And I'm going to do a nice long tail because I like that. And that's basically finished, but we've still got one more thing to do, which I'll show you in a sec. Actually, we'll do it first on these. Now, I told you to keep this, and this is the reason why. We've got this now, and we don't want that. And we're going to cut off a little piece of this so that it's just big enough. And because you're using the same paper, it'll barely be noticeable, especially if you get it going the right direction. And all we're going to do is put a little bit of glue on. Again, you can use any kind of glue you want. I've lost my glue pages, so I'm going to use my pokey book. Doesn't much matter. But I like to use the stick glue. And then you just press it down. It's a little bit awkward because it's an uneven surface to glue to, but if you keep pressing it down all the way around, it will finally get there. And there you see, it just covers up that, so it's not going to click any of your paper, and it's not going to stick into anything. So we'll quickly do another one, this one, while we're on. There we are. I mean, this would be nice with any kind of paper, really. Journal papers, it would be nice with, you could even do it with fabric if you want to sit and measure it all out and everything. You could do it with any kind of journal, like, you know, your journal kit papers, your collage papers. You could do it with a piece of collaged paper. And that would work. So right, let's quickly do this one, and then we can put these bits away. And then this one's going that way because it's a longer one, so I'm going to keep it going the same way. Let's just cut a little bit off the bottom, and then it's less noticeable if it's all going the same way. And as long as you glue the matte side up, because you're gluing it onto the matte side, you're not going to have like one piece of shiny paper in the middle of your matte paper. Like I said, it just takes a minute just to maneuver it and to get it to stick flat. There we go, perfect. Now, there we are. Right, let's just move these bits out of the way, and let's get the ribbon on these. Okay. You could use string for this if you've got some nice string. I did get the string out, but I ended up loving this ribbon that much that I just wanted to use the ribbon. And it's maybe a little bit bulkier than the string would have been, but that's okay, that's no problem. At the end of the day, you know, it's whatever fits your aesthetic, and it'll all work just as well. The only thing you don't want is something that frays a lot, because if it frays a lot, it's gonna come out and you're gonna have noticeable fray. Right. I'll get that eventually. The reason I take it round twice is because I think sometimes these do tend to want to unravel themselves, and that can be a bit awkward. So I tend to put mine round twice so it doesn't unravel. Right, now we'll just cut this off. I need to sharpen these scissors. They used to be nice and sharp. I think I need to sharpen them again. Or I'll get I'll get my husband to do it, because I'm notoriously bad at cutting myself when I'm sharpening things. I'm not allowed to sharpen the kitchen knives anymore. I'm a hazard to myself. See what I mean about it just wants to unravel itself a bit, so it's always worth putting it round twice. So that's basically it. Now you're thinking, but it's curling, Eileen. So here's the trick, and I'll show you the trick. And I'm just going to grab a couple of these. While everything's drying and settling in, pop a couple of paper clips on either side, and it will stop the curling. It won't work perfectly, but I think if you look at this one, there's barely any curling, and the bigger ones, it slightly lifts, but not all the time. And if you leave the paper clips on until you put it into a journal, it'll actually stay flat. I mean, look how flat that is, because I've used the paper clips on it. So just pop the paper clips on, and that'll stop most of the curling. And we'll do the same with this one. The smaller ones, it's not so much of a problem. And you know, you don't have to do this, because once you put them into a journal, it will flatten down anyway. Because the pages of the journal will actually naturally flatten it down. But I like the idea of having it flat anyway, and then it's less bulky when you put it into your journal. So that's my little tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that you try some of these. If you don't have the packaging paper, you can pick it up quite simply at a post office. You can buy it online. You might have some other paper. I mean, you might just have a nice coloured paper. You could use, I don't know, let's think. I've got some sheets of red A4 paper. You could use that. You know, a different coloured paper, and there's lots of different things you could use. I just like the idea of the packaging paper, because I think it just gives a nice kind of antique-y look to it, and it's got that kind of feel. But yeah, you could use any other paper really, as long as you cut it bigger than the image that you're going to use on it, so that you've got the nice border around, and it just gives you that nice effect. So I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you give it a try. Do drop a comment and tell me what you think, and if you can think of a name for the sewing machine, then please do drop a comment and tell me about that. Pop a like on the video, because it really does help. It gets me seen, and it'll help me to grow our little family, which is just, you know, brings me so much joy. And I think I don't have to keep on waxing lyrical about how grateful I am for you all. So yeah, so stay safe, especially if you're in one of the areas that's affected by the bad weather. Please stay safe. Yeah, happy crafting. Bye.